See, I'm setting myself up. Receptive. Talking about real difficult to understand without. Oh,
Yes. Well, thank you. Okay. All right. And let's everybody lined up with one of the things about the circle. It's receptive. Okay, now there's a sense of receiving to get it. Easy. Easy. Let him get himself. And it's entertaining for Uke. Okay, you can do that one. You see what I mean? And so, you know, I'm going to get a little too into the triangle. I'm going to get you. Easy, easy. And you're presenting over here. Easy. Natural motion, natural motion, natural motion. It's receptive, but it's not like a collapsing feeling. It's very alive. Oh, there. Over here for that. That one, for example, we could have finished a little bit more like that. There's energy there, but you're kind of on that. See, on the receiving end, it's not necessarily good. Okay, I'm on the receiving end of the attack. Okay, but on the other hand, right? Something gives you, the universe gives you lemons, make lemonade out of it. You see what I mean? I don't want lemons. Hey, lemonade's pretty cool. Okay, so that feeling right there, the receptive nature of the circle working at today. Okay. Basic movement. Okay, circle. The circle always is. I kind of get caught up in I gotta do it. There, I did it. Okay. The circle has some depth to it. Sometimes you talk about ground, but I'm going to ground to kind of get into a more combative mode. Circle's about depth. Okay, it's almost like if you could command the ocean and the waves in the ocean. That's a little bit with with the receptive nature of there's power there, but it's not like I'm going to set and get you out there. Okay, so right about here. The body is vitally present. It's not that way, or it's not this way. Okay, you get the game a little bit that way. So let's start with a basic movement. But again, what I want you to see is the circle. Now, it's just an idea up here, but it's a body feel to it. I feel lighter, freer. My psychology changes when I'm in a circular mode. All right. I'm going to deal with things. I'm not going to let them either crush me or I'm going to try to crush them back. I'm just going to be easy there and interactive communication. That's all circle. All right. So right about here. Good. Okay. So it's just a basic exercise with the magic of the circle. Okay. Different partner.
Hey.
Yeah, that's it. See what I mean? It's almost like it's always going on. It's just our attention is elsewhere. Okay. And so since they created this art, I mean, there's other things, the triangle and the square, square, but very kind of like, I'm jumping out to deal with it, but then I'm getting being too passive. It's not about being passive at all. You see that feeling a little bit right there? It's being very happy. But there's communication, there's connection, there's good things. There's some good things a little bit like that. It just kind of legislate away. Okay. Oh. Yeah. 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 Good. Now we're kind of working what we call, the circle. Just thought for a second. Feel kind of the energies of the circle. Okay. Well, that's different than I'm thinking about it. Well, circles go this way, circles go this way. Easy. And so one of the things right here is the circle. There's a circle here. Now it's different. I do the circle with the circles here. Right? So it's, in other words, it's power, but it's receptive power. You know what I mean? It's like, power, I'm going to get you before you. Okay. Yeah, starting good. Good. Now you do your turn and you do your pivot. And you got a movement, don't you? But it kind of starts with you kind of beginning to stand in and as the circle. The circle, the motion. So it's different than I do it. Okay, good. Yeah. How do you pivot and turn? And yes, you got a movement. All right. So sometimes, people kind of, the hard, soft, the, I don't consider that soft. You see what I mean? I'm going to do a soft form of Aikido. No, there's energy there. It's just that we're emphasizing the receptive side of it. Communication, connection, compassion even, that feeling of big words. See, most of the time, we don't feel the other person. We just try to do a movement.
Yes.
The circle is a little different because it includes both of us. There's motion. Yes. Good, 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 good. Now complete your pivot and you have a move, don't you? Okay? All right. Yes. Okay. Everybody pause for a bit. Just a little bit more of what we call a bit of a demonstration, okay? Part of, Aikido kind of comes out of sword concepts, okay? And a lot of them, are kind of boom, they're very boom. Yeah. You get the message. It has, if you stay with it, you get too jagged. People like that are a little difficult to approach, because you figure they're going to take your head off. Maybe not physically with a sword, but but a lot of the movement here is there's a receptive in there, isn't it? There's a receptive in there. A little, it says a positive. Okay. I remember some of this is just direct, but for example, I kind of remember when Hikuzuchi Sensei showed me the circle with the sword. And it was kind of like, and literally he kind of disappeared. It's like he traveled with the circle. It was pretty cool, And so if you kind of emphasize the circle in the motion, you're still making your point, in terms of an attacker, defender, boom, 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 boom. But you see that it's more receptive. Okay. All right. I mean, wars have a tendency to be very jagged. Okay. Now I really am rooting for Ukraine, really. All right. But, they're firing missiles. And then Russia says, if you do that, we're going to start da 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 da. You don't want to escalate violence. If he comes in this one picture, they've got that motion there. You got this, even the more jagged forms, if he's coming around, right? He creates space with you. Yeah, I just fill it. I just fill it. He's coming in, boom, I'm going to fill it. Okay. If he's coming with a thrusting motion, so boom, good. Now right about you. The word is control, like connect. That's what the circle is about. Okay. So it's one of the hardest moves because, right here, I'm going to try to sneak behind him and he's not going to let me do it. Yeah. See what I mean? So I'm going to stay jagged and not let him do that. So I'm but right about here, boom. And he turns around. All right. You get the feeling of it because a lot of Aikido is kind of based on the sword. And I think sometimes, I look at Osensei, it's very, very sharp that way, but he's also very receptive in his movement. Okay, he's coming quick. He just goes up this way. Boom. It's martially there. He raises. He creates a space. Well, since he fills it, without the sword, then that's wrong. But there was a circle there. Okay, so that's what we're kind of. Thank you. Gonna give you this. Okay, right. So that's kind of what we're working. For example, if he's coming in, what does that mean? That's a circle, isn't it? The mood, the vibe is very different than I'm going to get him. In a sense, we're letting him get himself, and the process is an education, a communication that is going on. Okay? Right? Receptive power. Now, if we go back to this right here, then all right, and I get too caught up, for example, in trying to get him. No, I try to listen to him, make a connection. And then this is a group project right there. And call it Penchinage or whatever it is. But, basically, not just my mind, but my psychology creates my mental state, which creates my body movement. And, since they said you stand on the floating bridge of heaven, one way of looking at it, I mean, it's impossible. It doesn't exist except in a fairy tale myth. But he might have been talking about the psychology necessary to do Aikido. You have your spiritual values. You have practical ground. And you don't get lost in that or hardened by that. You're flexible. You're easy, but not sloppy. And that's one of the descriptions of the circle. Okay? Receptive power. I go into my do it attack mode. Easy right there. Make a connection. Oh, yes. And then we have a smooth. Right? And so that little extra, not that I'm wasting time, and then your body off of your psyche, your psychology, your mental state stays easy loose. Your mind is not attached, creating a pro-con there. It's more in a unifying state. Okay, if nothing else, we're both in the circle. Good. Let's do a project together. Okay? Makes sense? Yeah, when Osensei was doing this movement, he insisted that Aikido could change the world. All right? And the world needs it more now than it did when he was alive. Okay, let me tell you. All right? The shifting the psychology of it, one of the things is reframing, let's say, martial interactions along a more circular, receptive mode. I'm way too jagged, mention the word Donald Trump and I get like easy there. All right? Easy there. Otherwise, the words control you. You want illegal immigrants to eat your pets? But think about that for a second. The words don't even have to be reasonable. But if you start to create fear and anger in somebody with your words, the fear and the anger and the hate become real. And one thing about the circle is it's kind of like, that's an interesting statement. Okay, you see what I mean? It's like, yeah, okay. That sounds to me like very interesting. I'm going to table it where I table it. I don't have to react to it with fear or anger or prejudice or whatever. See, so the circle is a really important concept, not just an idea here, but Here we get a chance to move in it, to feel it. The circle, on some level, is an aspect of key. Okay? So what we're doing here, good, 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 good. Look at this ground, there's the Marshall technique. So we're framing the Marshall situation psychologically in a more circular universe, so to speak. Okay, so let's go into the tension nagi. Okay, let's rotate again. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, one of the things, for example, you invite with a circle. Now, you don't necessarily want to invite a kick to your vitals here. It's receptive. It's one click past. Okay, I'm going to do the idea of it, the form of it, but right about here. Good. But you kind of feel embraced here. It's done properly. Right? Boom, that way, right? So, you know, I'm going to do this. This is not a good receptive. I mean, there's too many openings here, but all of a sudden, I mean, it's real. I mean, you know, the thing about words, right? You know, I'm going to talk about somebody illegally in the country going to eat your pets. You could laugh it off, or you could respond with fear and hate.
Right.
The words are stupid, but the fear and the hate are real, aren't they? Real.
Very scary.
In fact, that's yeah. Well, you know, that's the whole thing, is that the state of the country right now, there's a lot of that's what that person does. It just says stuff that just motivates your fear and control you. Yeah, because he's a coward. You know, he has to be in control. And, you know, the vice president let him shoot himself. But there are people that listen like this. So that makes, yeah, yeah. And so the circle is kind of inclusive, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, that works. You know, what happens right there? It's crowding you. Okay, good. What are you going to do? To some degree, you turn the other cheek. You know what I mean? Because other than that, easy. You might not get a response out of it. Okay. Sure, easy anyway. Boom, hi. I mean, you know, that's a horrible virtual move. You know what I mean? Like, so just practice that easy sense. That's what the circle is. Yeah, sometimes people just jam you. You know, what are you going to do? They're just easy. But that's the basis of something. It comes through that. That's what the circle is, right? You know, I mean, I let Donald Trump make me pretty uptight about things. I'm going to be I got to be better with that. You know, you see what I mean? It's practice, isn't it? Right? Yeah. Now that's a little bit of a triangle. You know what I mean? I'm going to go in that way. Sure. Now what happens a little bit is I have the power, so I'm going to make you do something. Now this is like, I'm bringing you into the power station here. And we're doing a project together. You know, it's a little different feel to it. You see the difference? That's good. And sometimes you need to be direct. But, you know, there's, you know, I get too good at that. I get too sharp. You know, and you get your boss is somebody who doesn't listen to you, just yells at you and gives you orders all the time. I don't think you're going to have a good time in that company, right? You have good ideas. Your boss listens. They call a meeting. Give you credit. A little different, isn't it? Okay, receptive. That's the circle. The world needs more of the circle right now. There's way too much jagged. Or conversely, the square is really good, but the square, you can get very stubborn. I got my viewpoint, you got your viewpoint. Well, we're not at war, but boy, are we different, and screw you. And then if it gets a little, it escalates, then I'm going to start sending missiles. And then all of a sudden that's the triangle, isn't it? And we got to go, okay, we're both in this universe together and we can do things together right here. You know, that's receptive. Okay? Right? Yeah. Good. And of course, uke is that too, because uke is from the Japanese word ukeru, which means to receive. It's receptive. Uke is a very active state, right? That you can use kind of learning. There's a lot going on. And the ideal is that by doing that, it comes his turn. He's in the field experience of it, and he's oh, things are cool, right? And so, you know, the world really needs the circle now, right? It really needs the circle. I mean, you know, it's just, right? It's crazy, but, you know, if we're going to go this way, then, you know, see that elbow going up? So, finger towards the sky. Yeah, you're listening to me. Now, if you try to go this way, then you're reacting to me. You can't react to me and listen, right? Okay, then the other hand, now turn your hips towards him and you've got to move. Okay, you see the feeling of it right there? It's a really good one, you know, that Aikido in terms of not many things teach this the way Aikido does, because, you know, you get a prize. Actually, you don't get anything other than your own development, you know. So it's like, what? Yeah, good. And, okay.
Which is.
Okay, all right. Yeah, the circle is nice because it brings things and people together. Okay. Um, I was kind of reading, you know, about, you know, the U.S. basketball Olympic team. LeBron and Steph, they've gone at it. They have a history, but they were able to set all that aside and be teammates. And in the end analysis, love each other, respect each other, right? Oh, that LeBron. Oh, that Steph. Easy there. Now, when they play, they're going to give their best effort to be a part of their team and the competitive structure. But on the other hand, a good basketball game it's almost like it's a win-win. You get two teams. One team has to get credit for winning, but the other team is so good. You go, you could have gone either way. Wow, what a game! You know, that sort of thing. And so, you know, the circle is a connector, uniter. And it's so easy to get caught up in the jaggedness of to some degree, you know, the square is important too. But, you know, I can get very stubborn being a square. Yeah, you got you out there, me here, your territory, my territory. We're not terribly communicating, but we're also not at war yet. Okay. And so, you know, the square can be kind of isolated. The circle itself is like, okay, you send your circle out, I'll send my circle out. We'll create a bigger circle. We don't necessarily have to ethnically be the same or whatever it is, but we can communicate, we can share ideas. Okay. Yeah. And so that way, everything is very, it's not loose. The circle, you know, anything goes. No, not quite. There's negotiation, there's respect, right? And so the Aikido is supposed to get us more in that circular mode. I know for me, I always do a lot of circle, but my consciousness is more on the other two, Ikizuchi says I was very that way, right? And then, you work on your base, your ground, you work on your technique. That's a square. Or one description of it. But the circle is very, very unique. In fact, that's kind of what makes Aikido, Aikido, right? So, yeah. And, for example, let's say you have he's coming to shove or grab right here, that's boom, circular response. I'm being overwhelmed, or once I'm that, I'm going to be aggressive back. Yeah. Boom. There was a circle there. He moves, I move. There's a connection here. Let's make it one hand instead of two. The two is a little harder. That's okay. But, right. Inclusive. I'm not trying to avoid them. All right. But sometimes what you're dealing with is something kind of sharp. Okay. Now, I should get sharp back. All right. That motion. The circle is something that's always with you. I mean, we're not talking about an idea. Rounder, more circular, present, more agreeable. Okay. Then you're just going to work on that off the line. Sometimes you'll raise your hand to a showman's and my mind goes up and then I react up there. So we'll keep it a little lower right here. But it's really the same energy. Okay. So let's change partners. Just the off the line off of the Mune Dori attack. Okay. Okay. Now, Steve, what I want you to do a little bit, I want you to a little bit of set.
Right.
Just a little bit. All right. In other words, basically within circle is also space. Within that space, there's a reaction, positive, receptive, positive. You're going to be positive. The space, you'll automatically be receptive. Right? So we're kind of if you're both coming, we're thinking that sort of thing like that. The stuff that does a lot of that stuff. And it's not just technique, it's really an understanding of something pretty deep. So when you're coming, you see that little set right there? When I set, I have to unset the move. Within the space here, there's going to be a positive receptive interaction, but the circle is the space. We get caught up in positive, I'm saying receptive power, but when you're the space of it, then okay, That's the tendency to flow. Flow, harmony is a byproduct of the fact that the space is allowing the interaction. As the space gets more open, the receptive positive within that space start to get a little more natural with each other, right? So we get an you get some pretty good Aikido on it. Okay, so watch a little bit of that set. Okay, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes they kind of in baseball they say pull the string, where somebody has a big motion and then the ball's slow and the batter goes like that. They swing at the motion, not at the speed of the ball. So sometimes you kind of get that. That's the beginnings of receptive. You see what I mean? Receptive. All right. Good. Keep going. A little bit of magic there. You see what I mean? There's no magic. You've got an assault weapon. I got a tank. I'm going to win. Yeah, no magic there. Okay, there's an old Green Hornet episode where where these guys want to break somebody out of a prison so they steal a tank. And the Green Hornet's got a pretty souped up car with everything in it, but it's no match for the tank, right? And so what does the Green Hornet say? Get him, Cato. So Bruce Lee's got to go out there and face the tank, right? And so, the tanks, they already got all this armor, but, he's dodging the blast and he jumps in midair and he throws 3 darts right through the ventilation system, with knockout gas. So, that was the ultimate get him, Cato. That's all the Green Hornet said was get him, Cato. And then you got to see Bruce Lee for,
That's what
but-
you do if you have a Cato.
yeah, but no, that's Receptive. No way he's going to punch or kick the thing. But there was a way where he just found a way, didn't he? Right? Flexible, easy, spot the openings in the situation. Run in midair, 1, 2, 3 Chinese darts, but with sleeping gas capsule. Okay, all right, good. Okay, all right. Now, see, one of the things that is kind of tricky is that some people are really good when they're conscious, but some of this is, is what we call subconscious. It's below your conscious mind. In other words, at that point, some of the old stuff is in your body. If you have to think about it, it's not in your body yet. Now, what we're saying is, the philosophy of the circle, the receptive power. See, most of the time, power tends to not be receptive. Okay. But, a lot of the circle, inclusivity, communication, connection. And what happens right there? See, one of the things that about the circle, it has no center. See, a lot of the Aikido stuff, there's a center, there's a circle, there's a circle, there's a center. Uke is the circle, Nage is the center. Okay? But kind of a more obscure kind of Aikido koan. The circle doesn't have, quote unquote, a center. So what is the center of the circle? It's emptiness. Emptiness is freedom. You're free. You're loose. You're easy, not sloppy. You're not giving up. You're, to some degree, holding your ground, but it's very flexible ground. Okay, when I really think about the circle, I don't think of ground so much. I think about Sensei's floating bridge. There's support there. Like, for example, if we're both in water and he comes, he's going to create a wave. And what does a wave do? Water parts on this side and that side. So all I'm going to do is just part with the water, get into a better position. And we got that. Okay. And right about here, I think the whole thing is to bring him down, but maybe it's to listen. Oh yeah, he just needs a little therapy here. Just a therapy couch. Okay, like, I don't want to attack the attacker. All right, and sometimes that's what we do. I'm going to learn the Aikido technique, and I'm going to get you back. And that's for want of a better term. And we're not using this as gender, but that's very masculine thought. Masculine thought is about winning. It's kind of pointed. Or if you kind of be kind of passive aggressive, kind of, but that's not the circle either. And the circle kind of, and this is not about gender, but it's more feminine, receptive, easy. All right. So after a while, it's pretty cool stuff. All right. And so coming in there. And so, the way I look at that, what does he need? He doesn't need to get blasted back. What he really needs is the therapy couch. Yeah. Tell me what's going on, right? And I kind of want to be the therapist. That's my psychology there. If I try to bring him down, you don't want to be brought down. He's holding on to point of view. So, easy. All right. No, I know you're paying a lot of money for this hour, but it's your hour. Well, listen there. You know, but a therapist will listen to you in a way that brings your stuff out and lets you examine it. Good therapist doesn't lecture you for an hour. That's kind of a dysfunctional parent. Okay. Right? Talk about it. Good. A good therapist will let you talk, and all of a sudden you start to get what you need to work on through what you're saying. Very receptive, but with a point, with a focus, with a purpose. And that purpose is the idea of a martial art. But it's to get us into a more positive sense of the receptiveness, and there's power there. Because you're coming in, oh, okay, good. And that easy. Easy is not easy because we're so much. They're jagged, control, territory, turf, all that stuff out there is creating wars, ethnic wars, political divisiveness, people lying to get votes. It's crazy. But we don't want to be part of that insanity. Yes, I'm going to vote. Yes, I have to pay attention to what's going on out there, but I don't have to get dragged into it. Or else I'm the one that's going to need the therapy couch after a while. You see what I'm easy there. We're kind of coming in this way. Good. Okay. You got the vibe of it. It's almost like you get the vibe of it. The circle kind of has its own sort of home vibe. It's not just a thought up here. Okay? Let's change partners. Go into the evening audio. Hi. Oh.
I went to Japan
Oh,
and
did you?
found a little
Oh.
wallet.
Captain America. Thank you. Thank you. What is this?
Is something else?
Yeah, this different. I'm just curious. I know what this.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, well, I'll open it and look at it later. Okay, thank you. Huh. The one that's been working on the circle, receptive. Okay. Put a little lower, because I mean, you know, I know the words, and I can start moving easier, easy. Circle's about depth. Again, that whole thing, the center, the circle has no center. That's kind of an Aikido poem. Is space. Therefore, the circle itself is a space. It's a psychological approach. You don't give in to everything. It's not receptive. If you're coming into structure, good. All right. What I'm going to try to do, you know, maybe if I'm a therapist, I get somebody with real hostility issues. I don't want to become the object of their hostility, but I also don't want to. I'm not a therapist anymore. I'm an opponent. Yeah. But right about here, bring him into the couch. Let him work his stuff out. Let him listen to himself. So that's receptive power. So right about here, just easy. It's so easy. Nado Sensei, Sumo Sensei, it's so easy, but I can't give it to you. The circle is it's a space. It's so easy. So easy with itself. So easy with itself. You kind of go a little bit. So easy with itself. Easy with itself. Easy with itself. Okay? And if you kind of go here, then you grab on easy there, but we're working the other there. Easy. Easy. Circle. Now we will study the movement. That sort of movement. All right. So when you yeah, okay, good. Yeah. You shouldn't tense or react. That's the space there doing the movement through you. Okay, good. Okay, now what we're doing a little bit is, if you're coming in this direction, see, it doesn't mean receptive doesn't mean giving in, but it's like, boom. All right, here, instead of trying to bring you down, we're going to invite you into the therapy couch. Start feeling a little bit right there. So it's more of a healing than it is, I'm going to get you. I know this trick and I'm going to use it on you, right? Okay. So, that's the circle is about receptive power. And there's way too much masculine power out there. And so, one of the, major things is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to teach this more. You see what I mean? Right? Okay, now one of the things, for example, I go this way. He starts to pull him. He pulls against him for a second. Okay. Therapy couch. That's about what it is. I'm not going to try to control them. On the other hand, maybe we're facing somebody who has real anger issues. I don't want to get bowled over by a therapist. So, I'm as a therapist, I don't want to bring those up in a way that directed at me, although sometimes that happens. Okay. But one of the things, for example, here is that good. That's a receptive movement, but it's positively receptive. All right. He's talking about the anger with his father. Okay, I'll let him talk. But then I remind him he's here, and I'm not going to say much. I'm just going to let him talk and work his issues out, where he can be receptive to what he's saying after he's worked out stuff. I'm not a therapist, but that's what a good therapist does. Bad therapists lecture you and tell you what you're supposed to be and how you're messing up and how you've got this concept. And then they want you to continue to pay money because, good therapist, because you're done. You know how to listen to yourself now, right? So one of the things, if I'm coming in here, okay, now, it's a reactive motion. As a therapist, you can't be reacting to your client's anger issues. Easy. All right. And now that's a little too reactive. Easy. There. That one. Good. Put your hand there. Oh, it's almost all done, isn't it?
Right.
You make the move there, then it's just up to part one, part two are all just part of the same package, aren't they? All right. And so, Aikido is not therapy, but I was just I think he saw it as kind of a healing thing. So therapy is supposed to be healing. Okay. We're not therapists. I've never taken an MFCC test or anything. Anyway, keep going.
Set up. Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, a lot of times people kind of look at the circle as being kind of weak. Really, kind of power. The problem with the country right now is there's just a whole bunch of people that want a strong leader because they don't know how to lead themselves. Yeah. And so they project on this person and whatever. And, this country could really be headed for disaster if it just keeps going that way. So at some point, we're hoping the tide turns. People start to listen to themselves. They don't listen to words that creates fear, anger, mistrust that's at the advantage of this political guy. Think for yourself. Don't let somebody manipulate you. You found out when he went in a debate. He faced somebody who just turned his own crap right back on him. Very easy to see. On the other hand, the country is by and large right now too stupid to see it. So that's a problem. But, going into receptive power, we have a great example locally is Stephen Curry. He's not some giant going in and dunking the ball and dominating with super strength and athleticism. He's just athletic enough, but it's almost like instead of attacking the hoop, he bends space from great distances. That's the circle. I know it's really difficult to see sometimes. And then what happens is you get some big 6'7" guy, and he gives the ball up because maybe one-on-one with some guy that's a genetic freak, but he moves. And then where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Boom, boom. That's the circle too. The circle has some magic to it. Okay. So I was realizing the idea, but that's Curry's archetype. He is the circle. LeBron has some circular elements, but he's definitely not a circle. Okay. And, even intelligence, when you use it to get an advantage, that's kind of more what I would, again, I'm not talking gender. That's more masculine thing. I'm smarter than you, so I'm going to take advantage of you. Well, that's kind of dumb, because what happens, it keeps everybody dumb, because they trust you, they let you think for them, which is stupid. Okay. So the thing about Curry is, you look at those high arching bombs that he puts up, 3 beats 2. He changed the whole physics and the psychology of basketball. Okay. And without him, we don't get that gold medal. Right? We just don't. And he didn't get that by dominating inside and smashing people around or being able to jump higher or jump faster. So when he got that ball, there it goes. And if you're the French, you call him the devil now, because he upset your apple cart, but in a wonderful way. Okay. So in that way, the circle is about space, right? All right. Now we got to space. Now the question is, who can dominate within that space? What if the space was alive? And what if we have this area right here? It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. There's power, but in a very receptive format. She's coming in this direction. Hello. Huh? You're not paranoid, but you're also, you're not expecting an attack. You're trying to control the situation. Easy. You're easy with it. Not sloppy, not neglectful. You're right on point. It's just that you're more inclusive, right? One thing they say about Stephen Curry, let's say he goes into a room and he goes around, he makes a connection. I wish I were more like him, believe me. He reaches out to people. And he doesn't, as far as I know, let people drain him. He has a family, he has a life. He's been on the political stage. His coach goes into the Democratic National Convention and says, you quote the great Steph Curry. You're going to tell a certain person, night, night. And then Curry came on, the last night of the convention, and he spoke. I mean, it was via video, but that's a profile. He's not just a jock. It's kind of a presence. People feel his energy, and his healing energy. If they come in to say, good. And right here, for example, I'm encouraging her to reach for her larger self. That's what Uke is supposed to do. They're reaching for their larger self. Feeling the energies of the circle. Nage is he or she who's embodying those energies and forces of the circle, which are harmonious. And then, the circle is about win-win. All right. I mean, I don't hear LeBron yelling about, or maybe he did, but we don't know, but that Curry won the gold medal. Anyhow, you wouldn't have won it without LeBron. All right. Right. No, they hugged. There was a certain sort of ecstasy there. And in a way, I think Osese created Aikido so all of us would share, like we just won the gold medal. The gold medal for Aikido is kind of understanding and owning up to your position in that circle, being able to be communicative, connective, positive. And the other side is you try to control through fear and hate. And I'm proud to say, because I'm going to vote Democratic, that the Democratic Party is really being very clear that they stand for hope. They stand for a type of unity, not just within the party, but hopefully inclusively right there. So, so that's a project that we both work on, right? And that's the circle. That's the circle. Everybody up? And sorry about that. It's like, good. Okay. I'm going to try to bring her down because that's the technique. No. This is sort of an invitation. Well, that's a graduation diploma. So when you start to frame things from a circle, you create win-win. Okay? Which, if you're used to life, oftentimes we're on the receiving end. It's not fun. So you get to come to Aikido and just sort of, since he talked about purification, there's all this negative stuff in our system that he created Aikido to kind of purify. Well, that's a big word. But let's just say it's a healing process. She's coming in this direction. Okay, good. She turns around. That's just fine too. I sort of have to understand her psychology. She's coming in for a reason. Good. And right about here, all I want to do is reflect that back so she can kind of get a good sense of the fact. And she sees how her psyche works and how it can work in better ways, to promote a better communication, a better connection. It's very radical stuff. I mean, Sensei was way ahead of his time. And to be honest with you, in a culture that maybe wasn't so good for what his message was, it's good, the artistic sense, but so much of the Budo sense of Aikido is very outmoded masculine. And if you go a little too sharp with it, it becomes toxic. Takes you over and takes you into realms that you don't want to be if you examine yourself, okay? So that's what the circle is about. Okay, let's go one more time. Let's rotate with a different partner, the same Irene analogy off the push to the chest, okay? Let's go. One thing I kind of want you to look at a bit right there. Okay, for example, here, don't sit there.
Hi.
So when you sit, you got to unset and try to
Yes.
move them. Okay, so one of the things about it is, okay, good.
Hi.
You see that motion right there?
Hi.
There's no set there. I set when I think I got to bring you down. I don't want to do that out of the spot because you can spend decades doing that and you get better at it. You absolutely, it's really funny that we hold on to stuff that's made progress, but the question is, you know, I'm gonna get better at being a racist. I'm gonna be better at being a sexist. I'm gonna be better at being a, you know, somebody who doesn't listen to life and just kind of go, you know, the things you don't want to get better at. Right. And so right here, for example, when we're here, right from the beginning, there's no set. That's one thing about the circle. The circle just, that's why they said it's empty. Because when you have a concept, it's not the circle anymore. It's I, you know, you're going to do something. The circle, you're there, but you let it happen through you. And right there, okay, right there.
Wait.
For example, you look at the circle.
Oh.
There's that little blip. You know, in other words, she's on. That's a little advanced.
Right.
But what I have to do right there is to unset very fast. I've
Right.
seen Ano Sensei do it.
Mm.
I've seen Tojiba Sensei do it. You ever saw Hikiguchi Sensei do it because it control things so much. Control after a while is negative. And I realized, you know, that you know, they're you know, becoming
Mm.
you know, or come on, you come on. Okay, good. Yeah, you have to sometimes get very creative right there. And the circle is creation. Why is the center of the circle empty? It's like empty space. It's not really empty, is it? All these subatomic particles going on. That emptiness allows creation to happen. The circle is the sacred ground that creation comes up and through. If we stand in that circle, we become kind of the agent of that creation. And in that state, there's no set. It's a tricky one because you're good. You're really good. I want you to just sort of take the next level. When you're moving, no set to get the motion, just motion. And then you go, okay, good. Yeah. And then it's one package right there. That's hard. I got years of going here trying to figure out the right angle to do that. Yeah. And you gotta say, okay, let's clear it out. And that's sometimes a little on the scary side. You know, because what it really is like I got all these cherished beliefs and I gotta let them go. And go, what's there? Oh, I don't know. Well, that's the emptiness of the circle that's not really empty. But I can't hold on to all my stupid crap and create. I'll create to a level, and then, you know, all of a sudden, you know, it's so much crap. So Sensei woke up every day like it was new. Zion said, told Ano Sensei, learn it, forget it. You start to get too good at it, you wind up, and great jazz great Chet Baker said, Art, good friend of mine, says, song like you don't know it. Great artists, they don't, it's new. You make a mistake, you create a new riff. Yeah, and being that loose and free, that's challenging. If you want to control, get the notes right. And I made a mistake. Okay, I can take it into another structure or another. But I think the great artists do that. You know, try to do it. Okay, keep going. All right. Okay, that's because they're similar. Because they're similar. Okay, let's go here. She grabs my right with her right. Okay, and we're going to go here. We're going to do that with that motion. They're very similar. Oh, for something. Remember this one? Boom. When I try to get the down, I interfere with it. There's gravity here. fact, without the gravity, we'd be floating onto outer space and it'd be total chaos. On the other hand, gravity being grounding gets you kind of dense and heavy and stupid. Okay? So one of the things here is to create the circle. Circle. I'm going to reposition right here, the circle. You have to remember the emptiness is your friend. Because what my approach is, okay, I'm going to get more substance and attack her substance now. Empty. Power is not about force. It's about the ability to affect meaningful change. There's destructive power, which means you change things in a bad direction, okay? But power has nothing to do with force at all. All right, so for here, we'll go this way. I shift my position a little bit because I'm here. She kind of knows the unbendable arm, so I'm going to get a better angle. And I'll look at that one. But it's really the same thing. For example, to go this way. Yeah, for example, let's just say that a combination technique could be who stands up. Okay, good. It's the same thing. Whether the takedown to ring or the takedown, right? The circle, touch. Apparently, LeBron James has nightmares about Stephen Curry. He says, you got to guard him from the parking lot. And then he said, no, you got to guard him from when he wakes up in the morning. That's, this is LeBron, right? And he's not afraid of somebody who's 7'8". He's afraid of this 6'2", 6'3" guy, who can shoot from anywhere, almost unlimited range within the basketball parameter. Touch, space. Steph is almost all circle. If you like him, if you like LeBron, you like the dominant center with a lot of intelligence. So he's very creative there, but he ain't Steph. Yeah. So we're just going to go here. Easy. Change size. Rotate the hips back. Now right here, I could go like that, or I can just go like that. Easy there. That's the circle. Okay. Let's change partners. Really need. Yeah. Something. Yeah. Extend. Okay, in other words, if it's kind of like this, it keeps going back to you. You don't do this in an attack mode, but within the circle, instead of that way. A little bit. Now do your change hami to get a better angle. Pull that foot back, get a better angle. Put the other hand there. Okay? The way I like to describe it, don't pull up a piece of paper, drop it in the wastebasket. Now you're holding on to the piece of paper, you gotta let it go. Not throw it, but let it go. Extend your arm out a little longer. Just drop it. Yeah, you're hitting the side of the waste paper basket. See this emptiness here? Drop it. Okay? Again, most techniques, you gotta kind of understand the psychology of them. See, I'm throwing it and hitting the side of the waste paper basket, over here. I can't do it. My arm's in a sling. Okay. Now my arm's healthy. But that's extension. Okay. So okay, I matched that with the honey. So good. All right. That put that here. Okay. Now relax. Point towards the ceiling. Yeah, that's good. Now turn your hips. Good. Now in. Change sides. Get a better angle. Trap because most people are going to let go when you try to meet going. Yeah. Now you're pushing down there. Take it, drop it right there. Now you're pulling it in. Okay. Now you're hitting the side of the waste paper basket. There. Oh. Yeah. See, the receptive is powerful. But it's not, like I'm kind of caught up in a very, I say masculine, not gender, but they can get toxic. It's a little different approach. Yeah. Easy. Yeah. Take that piece of paper, let it fall right in the center of the waste paper basket. And so what I'm doing is creating a psychological template for myself. So my body doesn't get used to hitting the end of the waste paper basket and falling out. So let it drop. Position. Right? And what we're really talking about is key. Circle. You're looking at key is very deceptive because you put a jagged form in front of it, it gets more jagged. If you kind of contain it within a square, the square and the triangle are important, but the circle is so much. Right now, I'm going, oh, the circle is really important. Inclusive. I'm going to stick you with a triangle, or I'm going to create a space here. This is my turf, and you stay out of it. And by the way, I think I want more turf. I'm going to try to get yours. That's all psychology, right? And it's very natural for somebody who's kind of ruled by their psychology, which we all are on some level, to be adaptable. And so the circle gives me a good template for going, yeah, I see that in me. Yes, I see that in me. And I can choose to be the circle person for now anyway. See that, Vivian? Yeah, that's it. That's the amount of force you use. The rest comes from key. Okay? All right, keep going. Yeah. Hold on. Oxygen oil. Okay, all right. Let's see about right here. All right. We'll start out with what we're doing right here. Obviously coming up. You got that motion, so it's a combination motion right here. It's coming up. Now, what I want you to see is that the amount of where do you want the basketball? You want it in Curry's hands. You want him to either dribble and shoot it, or conversely, he passes you the ball. And what does that mean? You let him move and you give him the ball back, because I'd rather have him shoot than me. Teamwork. Okay? Now, for example, here, this motion here. Now, as he's standing up, what's that? What's that same drop with a piece of paper? Okay, it looks like it. I'm going to come here and I'm going to jam them down. Okay, that works if you're big, right? It's all set up. Nice. Let's drop the piece of paper. Okay, and what I'm doing is there's the circle is more than just I know about it, I think about it. It's a shift in psychology. There's power there, but it's receptive power. Okay, easy. Reposition. Easy, 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 easy. Again, somebody has to shoot the basketball, but you want Curry to shoot it. And he gives you the ball, what you should do. Either pass it back to him or pass it to somebody who will pass it to him because he will be moving. Okay, I know that sounds crazy, but it's almost like that's teamwork. Okay, and on this one here, now if he's coming up this way, then it's also another dribble possible, but he's coming up. Okay. Okay. And again, what I'm trying to, the body language of it is sometimes a little better than the actual words. Easy. Easy. Circle has a lot of key in it. There's power there. It's just reframe it along the receptive mode. Still power. And if you ignore the circle, you get a little too jagged or a little too like that. A little too stubborn. Take a square, unless I'm too square, I'm too stubborn, I won't be. Okay. Circle is, circle. Want to be loose, easy, free, but connected to him through me. So have to establish yourself there. The circle center is empty, it's free, it's fluid. It's a place where we can create and be creative and include him in that. Okay, so let's go. Let's go Nikyo to the arena now again. Well, one things too. I feel this weight, I sit. Boom.
Mhm.
I feel this weight, I sit.
Mm.
I feel your weight, I sit.
Right.
It's an endless thing. What is the circle? It's empty because it's place of creation. So you got to be a creator within it. See what I mean? Feel your weight, I said. One more breathe out, boom. So what's your work on that? Because you're both strong,
Right.
you know. It's good. Wish I was stronger. But freer,
Right.
freer. Tremendous power in another dimension through the circle. You see what I mean?
Right.
Other than that, you know, it's like, you know,
Yes.
it's at our fingertips and we don't take advantage of it. It's really funny. Because we're like, you know, I do that, but I frame everything in terms of like the other twos, you know. It's like, man, this, I'm like, it's right in front of me, great, perfect circle. It's circle, 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 circle. You know, there was a guy, I mean, Earl Monroe, who was a master of the spin move. You know, it's an ike, we don't see that man. Earl the Pearl, they used to call him. Boom, 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 boom. Earl the Pearl, one of my favorite players. I used to go to the Y and pretend I was saying, look at my spin move. Now I go there and work on my 3 point. I don't go to the Y anymore. I go outside. But anyway, yeah, yeah. Now, one of the things too is that, let's say we go over here. Without being sloppy, there's no set. Okay? I'm setting to move. No, there's no set. Yeah. I'm setting to do a technique. No, there's no set. That's again, the koan, like a spiritual teaching question. The circle has no center. Maru Chushinganai. Right? Maru Chushinganai. Circle has no center. Obviously, it has a center. But then again, if you look at it a certain way, and when you feel my weight, you set to move my weight. What if you didn't? It's motion. The thing is, it's supposed to take you 30 years to do that. But the fact of it is it's right here. Very good. Now step behind. That's a set. Rotate your hips, counter rotate your hips without setting. That's your move. And it's a little different from the way we normally program ourselves. But it takes us a little time maybe to reprogram. See what I mean? Okay? Okay. All right. Yeah. We're gonna be ending right here. One of the things you find, like Sensei said something like, win over yourself. Okay. And one of the things about that, it's an infinite path. Because what happens is that, we set. There's set points where I set to do the movement. And so within the emptiness of the circle, it's just not really empty. If I go, the circle's empty. I'm done. All right. I got a gravestone. It's just in the form of a circle. But it's a very alive emptiness because when you stand in that center, you are creative. Okay, navigate, train, and create together. Nage doesn't beat uke. It's an educational process. I mean, when I was, the thing about training in Shingu when I was there was when they weren't teaching, they trained. So I might, have a good class. So you have Yanase sensei, then you have Ono sensei, then you have Tojima sensei, and Hikizuchi sensei was leading the class. And I learned a lot because they were uke. And I learned all of the points where I set and stopped and tried to force because they were so advanced, I couldn't do that. And then I felt how they didn't set when they did them. Okay. And so, it's not that you don't have an idea there, but your ideas unfold and are new in the moment. It's liberating. Okay. And so when we are there, then we begin to understand a little bit what O-sensei said when he says takemusu aiki. Freedom, martial creativity. He was a martial artist, so he had to put take, which is a reading of Bu martial. It's a martial art, but it's kind of unique. Okay, there are other internal arts, that stress the development of kind of like your energy, but the Aikido isn't purely about that. Aikido is really has a whole structure to it for things outside of martial situations to be enlightened, right? Yeah. The circle is something, it's funny because, I was watching a guy that I used to really like to watch in the 60s, a guy named Earl Monroe. They call him Earl the Pearl. And his signature move was the spin. The spin. He had a spin move. And what was interesting about it, the spin, most people spin real tight. They try to beat you with a spin. Okay. And Earl would beat you with an expanding spin. And off of that expanding spin, he could re-spin in an expansive mode. And so, people would be trying to keep up with him when he's doing these slow spins, and they couldn't keep up. And people would say, for example, O-sensei, he's walking. And if you were with him, you'd have to run to keep up with this old man just walking. And so there's kind of a form of katsu hayagi, no time, no space there. And the circle is really key to that. It's really easy to measure, the sharpness of the triangle as an attack form to it, or the square, I'm done, I won. And the circle is there in the middle for a reason. Okay. And the circle, in some sense, puts this, you can be very sharp, but you have the adaptability, the receptivity of the circle. You can be very square, but you have the aliveness and the inclusiveness of the circle. And so the Aikido that's what makes Aikido pretty unique, is that it has that dimension to it. It's not just a quote unquote martial art. And a lot of the key to that is the circle. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. This is in the not so distant future, but I think it's in November. This is going to be a book signing. The Sensei has written a book. There's a couple of things out there you can do it. I actually have an article in it. I didn't participate in it, but there's going to be a training with Nado Sensei and the people who helped him in the book. I was consulted for a lot of it, but I didn't put the work in to do the book past a certain point. So I'm thinking this Saturday, I think it's, I've heard that it's Berkeley, I've heard it's Aikido West, but I'd like to close the class here that weekend and recommend that you go to the book signing training. Okay, because you know, it's Division 3 and we're Division 3, so I'd like to support Nado Sensei. And it's called Aikido, the Art of Transformation. See, the whole thing about the circle is it's transformative martial arts. It's a martial art. But when you get a little too this way, like my first martial art was Shotokan Karate, and that was very square. Okay. And a lot of the training in Japan was very pointed or sharp. All right. So in some sense, I kind of realized the circle is something that I have that maybe I've kind of underdeveloped a bit. So we kind of worked on it today. But it's something we can all kind of benefit from. It's more receptive. I mean, I'm not talking gender, but you know, the square and the triangle can be a bit masculine. You know, the square is a lot about winning, and the triangle is about being aggressive. And the circle of the three is by far the more, and it's not gender, it's more feminine. There's power there. Kamala Harris dominated the debate. She took on a bully and just, I wouldn't say she beat him with a circle, but she let him kind of tie himself up with a lot of his rhetoric. Unfortunately, the majority of the country is too stupid to understand what went on. So we have that as an issue, but it was really good. Okay. Okay. Anyway, thank you. Oops. Yeah. It was. Yeah. All I could say.